Hello YouTube, welcome to my YouTube channel Anna Bella, and today I'm going to be doing my Liahona General Conference edition from May 2026. It finally came. Yes, it is thicker than usual, but shockingly enough, we also got this supplement, and when we get a supplement, it usually means that they've died. Well, that's ridiculous, because this guy's just been sustained. In fact, we sustained him in the April conference, which is the May issue. Yeah, they need to work on that. So obviously this is an introduction to President Dallin H. Oates, because there are more Mormons that live outside of the USA and Utah. So this is like a global supplement, but they should have put introducing or newly sustained or more information on, because I fully get why they've done this, because they've put like a cute little supplement, a supplement to the Liahona with profiles of his counsellors. So there he is in his nice chair, rocking the grandpa prophet look. 93 years old. But actually this is quite nice. So it's basically just a brief biography. So we've got, you know, non-colour photographs, because he is 93 years old. And then this one. So we're going with the slick black and whiteness, which is good. Second wife, because first wife is, I believe, up here. There we go. Yes, and that's mum. And that's dad, who sadly passed. So that is that for the current prophet president. They should have put an introduction on it, because we usually only get these when they pass, because obviously we've had Holland and we've had President Nelson, who's conveniently in that photo there. Then we have Henry B. Eyring, who's also 93 years old. So here's his profile. This is the second time that he's been a counsellor on a first presidency. But I believe he may have been a counsellor before. And then you've got the spring chicken of 81, D. Todd Christopherson, right here. So his write-up as the second counsellor, which is really important, because basically Henry B. Eyring and Dallin H. Oates are having a race, a very, very slow race, to see who will pass through the veil. Interesting that they've done it as a supplement. Would have liked to see introducing or more information on, or newly sustained, or information on your newly sustained first presidency, because getting this was a bit of a shock, because I was like, is it dead? I haven't heard a death announcement. Why have I got a supplement? So moving swiftly on, we can talk about the General Conference address. So this is May 2026. It always comes out in May, but the conference is actually in April, and some people say it does clash with Easter. So here we have the current first presidency, hence why we got the cute little supplement on them. Two bald heads and one full of hair. So it's two ovals and a very round. Yeah, the joys of having shapes. So then we've got Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon. I'm so glad they got rid of the Saturday evening session. It was just conference overkill. I get that people needed to have experience doing talks and things, and sometimes it would rotate between priesthood and religious society, and people would grump. But to be absolutely honest, I'm like, we've got 4 sessions already. We don't need any more. Quality, not quantity. Let's not overwhelm the membership. So it's the 169th Annual General Conference, so the blurb. But I am liking this. So this is like a little contents page for the Saturday morning session, and it tells you who talked and what they talked on, and a little photo of them, because there's loads of them. And to be absolutely honest, if you're not in the First Presidency, or the Quorum of the 12, or the Relief Society President, or the President of Young Men, Young Women's, I'm sort of like giving you a pass. It's like, nah, not relevant. Because so we've got the introduction, obviously, by... At the time, he wasn't president, he was just acting, because we had to have the solemn assembly where everybody in the church had to stand up and raise their hand. So that is interesting, and that hadn't been done for some time, a solemn assembly like that. It's always good to have them. There we go. Voila. So it's clearly the deacons, or perhaps, yeah, I suspect he was a deacon. He looks young enough. Or primary, because I know that they did. What do we do? Yeah, because it starts with the first presidency, and then every layer of the church basically does the sustaining, and then about his business. So the British Apostle Patrick gave a talk. That's nice. But look, it's got nice. It is very crammed together, and we do get a lot of notes. It is crammed, but there's lots of pictures, but it is a crammy issue. There's not a lot that we can do about it. But at least we no longer have to pay. So then we're in the Saturday afternoon sessions. There you go. So you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 talks there. How many did we have in the first one? Because it's always good to have a look and see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9, then 10. Yeah, that makes sense. But what is nice and what they have started doing is at the top. So this is an elder of the 70 and it's on testimony, Jesus Christ, discipleship and conversion. So they've given you keywords at the top. That's good. Same here. New feature. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. So we are still, it doesn't say which session. Saturday afternoon session, still on that. Whizzing on, whizzing on. Oh, here's the end. It is the end. And then we've got, so photos from conference as well. They have clearly got conference overload, bless the dear hearts. Sunday morning session, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So that's kind of cool. So this is the Sunday morning. Alive in Christ. And we've also got best days, worst days. Because remember, all of this happened before the announcement of, well, it was weird because they announced the changes to the Sunday school schedule where they're splitting, instead of doing an hour Sunday school one week and then going to Relief Society or Priesthood, they're basically going to split that. So you do 25 minutes in Sunday school or Relief Society or Priesthood. So it's like, that makes a lot of sense to me, to be absolutely honest, you know. And then we've got Gethsemane, then everybody. Basically, this, and then these general officers. It's sort of that I kind of delete that, and you lot are nice to know, but these are basically apostles in waiting, perhaps, depending on age. But if they get too old, they can have emeritus. It's these guys that can't, and that does tend to have a problem with them being slightly older. So you then sort of have sort of like 5 or 6 people being 90 at the same time, and then they sort of pass very quickly, which can be a bit annoying. But more Jesus. So this is a Book of Mormon, Jesus from Nephi 3. The third book of Nephi. It's not the same Nephi, by the way, that wrote Nephi 1 and Nephi 2, because that'd be ridiculous. Just pointing that out. They just happen to have the same name. There we go. And then we've got the bosses, Alive in Christ talk. Then we've got the Sunday afternoon, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, that makes about sense. Oh, look. Selfie of a selfie. Of a selfie. Of a selfie. Yeah. So the character of Christ, remember. It's all good. Glory, my Jesus. It's nice that we're looking at only 2 pages or 3 pages per talk. Obviously, you do get all the notes, which is nice that it links to previous talks. So you get consistency. Come unto Christ together. It's Tizzy Satide. No one walks alone. Then we've got, obviously, the Christ statue, very popular. Closing remarks by the Prophet President Dallin H. Oates. Then we get some lovely pictures, because Mormons do like our good pictures. Then we've got Elder Gerard Cote. He's French, so we have a French apostle, and he got newly called at this conference. So obviously, we've got a little bit about his life for people that don't know him. He also likes to play the piano. And then we've got Elder Clark G. Gilbert. He's known a lot. We know a lot about Clark G. Gilbert purely because he's Utarian. And filtering at BYU. Moving swiftly on, but hey ho, at least doctrinal consistency is the thing. But yeah, basically just avoid. I think we'll just avoid. He's basically the younger version of Elder Holland. But Elder Holland had a softer edge. I'm not quite sure Elder Gilbert's got that yet. But we'll see. Give him time. Give him time. There he is with President Nelson, becoming the first president of BYU Pathway. And then we've got some new 70s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some new 70s. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are these new 70s, or have they done a real shuffle? 70. 70s, there's 70s, then we come up here, bishopric, first councillor, bishopric, second bishopric. The new primary general president, yes, she's from Africa, but she lives obviously in Utah because that's where the meetings are now in the USA, so that's interesting. But if we go to this, is she on here? We go down here, primary, no. No, so it's kind of like the old one. They've not updated it with the new people, which I find interesting. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Why she's not there, because she should be. Because she's the primary general president, new one, freshly sustained and everything. And then we've got first councillor and second councillor, and they haven't been changed on my lovely form. So maybe they didn't have their official photos yet. It's possible. Oh, the statistics report. So there we go. Church unit, states, missions, districts, ward branches, total membership, new children of record, convert baptisms. Interesting. Full-time missionaries, senior service, young service missionaries, temples and operations, temples and renovation, temples announced, or under construction, 172. And then more temple news. Temples dedicated, so they've been dedicated for use and are up and running. So always good to have a look at your good old statistical report. Then we've got applying, learning, teaching, learning and applying messages from General Conference, a plan to teach, so some questions and some lines there if you want. And then activity ideas, so that's kind of cool. And then speaker index and a topical index, which is really useful so you can find what you're looking for. And there are all the apostles. Looking very nice. Let's count them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. So there they are. And then you have the first presidency itself, which is 3 dudes. So technically you've got 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you've got 15 of them, you know, in case of accident or injury or illness or advanced aging. So that is that. And there we have him on the back with a nice little quote. There's the logo. So that is April's General Conference. I'm liking we're going with the slick black and white. It's very, very nice. This was a bit disturbing. They should have put newly sustained because it is a bit freaky to get a supplement. England, UK language. Yay! Yeah. For the spelling. So that is a bit freaky, but I fully get it. They just want to just have a big gob. Look, him with more hair. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Moving swiftly on, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And there you go. Bye!